Week 2 of testing is here. Day 1 of testing week 2. How did it go down? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. But, there is something that needs to be discussed first, just quickly, because I know really we want to get in the meat and the potatoes of today, the times, the laps, all that good stuff. But just wanted to quickly say, it has been a crazy weekend for many Formula One YouTube creators. It's been carnage, to be totally honest with you. Don't really want to talk too much about this, but a lot of people have been having a lot of issues with unfair copyright strikes, and don't worry, I understand how copyright works. I have had to go to copyright school in the past from previous channels when I was a little bit younger, a little bit more naive, so I've learnt this the hard way, really. So there has been a lot of people, including myself, that have had unfair issues this week, and in the description I will have links to different channels that have been hit with it, and if you could go and show them some support, that would mean the world to me, because everyone's going through such a painful time, such a hard time on YouTube at the moment, and it's annoying. It's not what Formula One wants, but it's not the main focus of today. But I just wanted to throw that out there because people like Chaz, people like Aldas, Sean has really put his neck out, the F1 word that is, the last few weeks, streaming every day of testing, and to be quite honest with you, he's just been screwed over, to be totally honest with you. But that's not what I wanted to focus on today, and I don't really want to start off a video like that. That's very, very unlike me to start off a video in that sort of way, because obviously buzzing to see the cars back on the track again. Another issue, let's just get them out of the way early doors, not on Sky. Sky will not be broadcasting testing week 2, which for a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people complaining about this as well, including myself once again. It's a good old moan fest today, isn't it? A lot of people bought subscriptions for the month, but they're only going to get 1 week's worth of footage. It's a pain, but I suppose we can't do anything about it. But let's focus on the actual on-track action, and your eyes are not deceiving you, and yes, your memory is not deceiving you. Last week, we saw Ferraris top the timesheets, we saw Toro Rosso's, Renault's, and now McLaren, the team that for the past 4 or 5 years have been awful in testing. Their testing has been diabolical. Today, top the timesheet with British rookie Lando Norris. A 1:17.7, not the quickest we've seen so far in testing, but it's a lap that sure is up there. And on the C4 tyres, yes, Gasly behind him, just behind him, is on the C3 tyres, but I still feel from Norris that lap time is a solid job, and we've said this a few times that especially early on in week 1, they really wanted to do some flashy home run laps, those last minute dash laps in the dying seconds of the session. That's what they did again today, and I'm a sucker for these sort of things, I really am. And yes, it's going to be great for the headlines, but it is brilliant to see McLaren top a session again. Yes, it's testing. Yes, you can see other teams like Vettel P4 on the C3 tyres, Gasly on the C3 tyres in the Red Bull, but still brilliant to see McLaren back up there fighting. Going through the rest of the times, Gasly second, Stroll third. Solid job from Stroll actually today, and last week and over the weekend I said it would be Racing Point. I'm looking at to be one of those teams I'm hoping can do better in this second week, so I'm happy with that. Vettel was fourth with a 1:17.9, Giovinazzi 5th, another 5th place for Alfa Romeo this week. Really strong morning for Giovinazzi, he actually topped the times in the morning session, ended up about a second behind Norris's time, 8 tenths or 8.8, so a good effort from Giovinazzi, but we'll go through the laps and the real stories of testing in a second. Albon was 6th, about a second once again behind that time set by Norris. Charles Leclerc, so Ferrari this week are splitting their drivers. Vettel or Leclerc doing the morning and then the opposite doing the afternoon, similar to what Mercedes and the Haas team did last week. Magnussen was 8th for Haas. They're switching it up this week, and it's Magnussen today, Grosjean tomorrow, then Magnussen, then Grosjean. Russell making it into the top 10 for Williams. Williams' first entry into the top 10 in any session for 2019, so I suppose that's a nice fact in a sense. They finally made it, and a 1:19.6. Yes, you know, the tyre situation there isn't ideal. They've had to do it on the C5 tyres, but At least they're there. That is something, and they'll see that as a positive. And I'm going to try and do the same. Ricciardo was in 10th, Bottas 11th. And then on your screen, you can't see, but Hamilton was 12th, and Hulkenberg was 13th, and he was the final runner of the afternoon. So let's go through these laps then. 80 for Norris. Solid job for McLaren. I would have liked to have seen a few more. You know, I can't deny that. I always say that I think teams should try and aim for 100 laps. 80 isn't too far off, so I think they'll be content with that, is the best way to put that. 136 for Gasly, a really strong run-in from Pierre Gasly today. Most laps of anybody, so brilliant from the Frenchman. Stroll, 82 laps again. Racing Point have failed to hit 100 laps, and I know I said for McLaren that was a solid job, 80 points. For Racing Point, I think they need to hit that sooner rather than later. The time is better, so that's a step forward, but I think I'm still a little bit nervous about them. They really haven't blown anyone away so far in testing, so only 3 days left. Can they pull something out the bag? I'm a little bit sceptical now. Vettel 4th, 81 laps for Seb. Solid job from the German. Giovinazzi, 99 laps. Not quite the 100, throwing that out there. Albon, 103 laps, did hit the 100, but let's be honest, 99, 103, it's not mega difference, and those times very similar as well. Charles Leclerc just 29 laps. Difficult afternoon session for Charles. 131 for Kevin Magnussen. Haas, another team that need to put in the laps, so putting in over 50 more than Racing Point. Actually, just under 50, 49 more laps than Racing Point. They'll be happy with that. Russell, 119 laps of Williams. Brilliant. That little stat there is probably the best bit of news that we've seen, well, I was going to say a week, but today, I think that's what really put a smile on my face. Seeing 119 laps for Williams, seeing them finally start to get some run-in was great to see. Ricciardo, 77 laps. Bottas just 7. We'll talk about that in a minute. Red flag caused by the Mercedes. Hamilton, 83, so just under 100 laps, 90 laps completed by Mercedes in total, and Nico Hulkenberg, 80 laps, so partner that with Daniel Ricciardo, 77, not a bad job from Renault whatsoever. So then, let's go through the incidents of testing, if you will. And actually, turn 3 seemed to be the place causing the biggest, well, I suppose, dramas of the day, just like it did in the race last year, unfortunately for me. I don't want to have to think about my boy Grosjean and the Spanish Grand Prix last year. That is painful memories. Today, red flag caused by 2 different teams, 2 different drivers. Valtteri Bottas in the afternoon session coming to a stop in his Mercedes car. That car today, I'm not a technical guy, but even I could tell that was a radically different looking Mercedes than what we had seen last week. So brilliant that even the top teams can still find more performance. Proves that these regulations, some teams, even the big dogs, don't always get it right. And it seems this week teams are trying their best to try and replicate a Alfa Romeo look sort of front wing. So it looks like they've really hit the nail on the head now. That slight advantage in those early races, so look for them to be best of the rest early doors. Another red flag, turn 3, caused by Lando Norris. Another red flag caused by McLaren. I believe that's 4 so far, maybe even 5 we've seen in testing from McLaren. However, contrary to Haas, all Haas's have been stops on the circuit. The majority of McLaren's have been trips to the gravel, so okay. Not the cleanest from the 2 drivers, but it's better than having a mechanical issue, and we believe that McLaren haven't come out and said anything about this, but supposedly Norris was just a trip to the gravel, wasn't anything to do with the car, but that is still yet to be seen. George Russell going on at turn 1 through the gravel, but that wasn't a red flag, that was just a little excursion from the other British rookie in Formula 1 this year, but that was the main incidents of the day. A few spins here, there and everywhere, but generally solid running from most of the teams. Standout performers-wise for today, I think McLaren impressed with that, but only 80 laps. I mean, I don't want to read into the times too much, so I'm not gonna say McLaren. I think Haas, 131 laps for K-Mag. That's a good job, and it's something they really needed, but I touched on it earlier. I am so chuffed for Williams. It's got to be Williams, and I know the times, again, C5 tyres, it's not looking brilliant. But the fact that finally they've gotten some good running, and as well, this is crazy to say, the car seems reliable, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be as far away as they were last year, but it's only early doors, it's only testing. We can't read anything into this, but it is fun. Thank you guys for watching. If these videos go down or in the week things just don't appear, you know why. You know why. I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.